It is hard to say exactly who is at fault for the rig's failure, but that does not mean that the employees could not have helped. The blowout preventers are in charge of a multitude of things that could have stopped an explosion, but these blowout preventers are all run mechanically and not manually by the employees, so it is again difficult to place one person at fault. BP employees failed to consult a knowledgeable engineer that was visiting the rig about a problem, and this is where the situational leadership would have been important. If these employees had have diagnosed the situational conditions of the rig and had have responded properly by consulting the engineer, the explosion may have been smaller or prevented. Organizational misbehavior could have been a negative effect of the employees in this explosion with regards to the failure to consult with the rig's engineer who was on site. If the norms of the company had been followed, the worker who failed to consult with the engineer would have behaved properly and done so. Organizations such as the U.S. Coast Guard and the National Wildlife Federation helped clean up the spill. As of April 2014, all remaining cleanup operations are to be performed by the U.S. Coast Guard and the expense will be footed by BP. As a non-profit organization, the NWF strongly believed that they have an obligation to aid Gulf wildlife recovery and ecosystem restoration. On oil rigs, the working force tends to be dominated by the male gender. Women's share in the oil and gas industry is a mere 13% in the United States. Men's dominant and forceful traits may have caused shortcuts to be taken, as well as disregarding the consequences of such a failure. The employees are so far removed from the executives that they start to become less looked at as actual people and more so as resources to gain profits from. The distance from the decision makers and those most directly affected by the decisions made were contributing factors to some of the choices to overlook safety precautions and may have contributed to the spill.
Created using Powtoon.